In this video, we will talk about the teachings of author Darren Hardy, who wrote one of the most incredible books in the field of personal development, The Compound Effect. So, let's begin. Imagine if I gave you the option to choose between the following two options. Earn a single penny that doubles in value daily for 31 days, or receive $200,000 in cash at this exact moment. Which option would you choose? I'll let you think about that while I explain something important, but we'll come back to it soon. Your life is controlled by just one factor, and this factor is the only thing that will determine whether you'll end up living in a luxurious place or a modest one. It's a factor that will determine whether in the future you'll drive a luxury car or an economy car. And this factor that determines all the results in your life is called choices. Everything in your life comes down to the accumulation of choices you've made up to the present moment. For example, the thickness of your belly is nothing more or less than the accumulation of choices you've made up to now. And the same goes for the size of your company, your bank account, and the depth of your relationships. All of this, without exception, is merely the result of the accumulation of choices you've made up to this exact moment. Success is not the result of a few heroic acts. Nobody you see on the cover of Forbes is there because they did something heroic. These people aren't there because of some great act of bravery. They're there because they made small, daily choices. Seemingly insignificant choices that, over time, produced extraordinary results. Therefore, it's the compound effect produced by the accumulation of these small choices that make those people who they are, and make you who you are. But anyway, going back to that question at the beginning of the video, which option would you choose? $200,000 in cash now, or a penny that doubles in value daily for 31 days? All right, last chance. Instead of $200,000, what about $600,000 in cash right now? At this moment, there are basically two types of people watching this. Those who are doing the math, and those who have already chosen the $600,000 with their eyes closed. Either way, let's suppose you chose that small penny. But to make the story better, let's say your neighbor chose to take the $600,000. So now let's imagine what these 31 days would look like in such a context. 15 days have passed, and your measly penny is now worth $326. Meanwhile, your neighbor has $600,000, and the party they're throwing at their house is so big that you can feel the windows of your house vibrating with the loud music. 19 days have passed, and now your penny is worth $1,048.58. Up to this point, there's no hint that something extraordinary will happen, and the first spark of frustration begins to hit. 20 days have passed, and your penny has turned into $2,097.15. It's not money to throw away, but it doesn't compare to your neighbor's $600,000, money that you could also be enjoying if you had chosen the first option. And recognizing this, the frustration hits even harder. However, from there on, the magic of the compound effect begins to happen. Your money starts to transform into increasingly impressive numbers. And if you have the patience to wait until day 31, that single penny will have transformed into an incredible $2,147,183.65. The compound effect caused by the accumulation of small choices can be considered the eighth wonder of the world of success. Because the choice you made from day 1 to day 2 is the same choice you made from day 30 to day 31. Therefore, stop looking for a quick solution to success, happiness, or wealth, because there are no shortcuts, no tricks, and no miracle formulas. So get used to it, because the solution is almost never quick. Most of the time, you'll have to go through a veritable minefield of hard daily work, because success is conquered one day at a time. Every day when you lift your head from the pillow, you'll have to decide whether on that day you'll be a winner or a failure. Because deep down, you're either progressing or regressing, one step at a time. Each step you take from the moment you get out of bed is taking you in the direction of success or in the direction of failure. It's as simple as that. At the moment you make a choice, the consequences and results are still invisible, so it seems like what you're doing is a waste of time. But remember this phrase: when nothing seems to be working, I go see the stonecutter hammering at his rock perhaps 100 times, without a single crack showing. But on the 101st blow, the stone splits in two, and I know it wasn't that blow that did it, but all the others that came before. See, these small choices have what can also be called the butterfly effect. That is, a tiny choice made now can produce a tsunami in your life 10 or 15 years from now, both for good and for bad. That's why the most important thing you need to have is patience, especially when you're not seeing results. Because anyone can be patient when seeing things happen. It's at this moment that you need to keep in mind that even though the results may not yet be visible, the compound effect has already been triggered from the moment you took the first step. And with each new step you take, it will be further fueled. But depending on what you're doing, the results may only show themselves in about 5 or 10 years. Every day we are bombarded with a huge amount of advertisements and dubious promotions about how to get rich, ripped, and younger overnight, and with little effort, for just 12 payments of who knows how many dollars. And all these advertisements offering a fairy tale to people who want real results cause them to lose time, money, and even hope in their ability to achieve the result they desire. But the reality is that there is no silver bullet, and even less a magic pill. So, if you want, you can sit on your couch and imagine million-dollar checks arriving in your mailbox. But if you're not putting in the work and making an effort, I guarantee you that the only money-related thing that will arrive will be a bill for you to pay. Know that achieving success, unlike winning or receiving, is a very monotonous, frustrating, and sometimes even desperate process. But of course, despite this being the truth, it's not the kind of thing that sells or motivates people. That's why many of them walk around deluded with a fantastical vision of what is necessary to be successful. And an important fact about success is that you can never own it, only rent it, and the contract is renewed every blessed day. It's not what you know that determines the results of your life. That's a myth, because knowledge is not power itself. It's only potential power. The real power is in what you can do with the knowledge you have. After all, what exists out there are people with enormous knowledge, but who are completely broke, without a penny in their pocket. Because money doesn't come in exchange for knowledge, it comes in exchange for action derived from knowledge. If we look at doctors who warn patients about the harmful effects of poor diet and sedentary lifestyle, we'll see that about 40% of them are sedentary and eat poorly. Do you know why? Because there's a big difference between knowing the path and being willing to walk the path. In the end, you'll have only two options in life: the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. And as they say, the pain of discipline weighs pounds, but the pain of regret weighs tons. Therefore, the pain of discipline from eating healthy, saving money, studying, and apologizing hurts much less than the pain of disease, lack of money, ignorance, divorce, and loneliness. So whenever you have to make a decision, ask yourself, pain of discipline or pain of regret? The choice is yours. If this video helped you, don't forget to leave your like, share with those who need it, and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell to receive notifications of new videos every week. Until the next video.